God.
All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Tuddle Daily Podcast live stream, the 11 a.m. edition. I am your host, Tuddle, and I am joined by Charlie Alamo. If you would like to follow him on Twitter, you can easily do that. Just search him at Real Lame Charlie. Charlie, how are you today? Uh-oh. I lost Charlie. Hello. See, this is the thing about working out the kinks. Anyways, I will sit here. All right. And so he's back. I wonder what the hell happened there.
I don't know. The video was on, and then it just went right when you went to me, cut out, and then the whole page went black. So
you're saying Zoom and YouTube was like, yeah, we were censoring this guy. They hit the dump button on you.
They did. They knew that I was going to say something probably stupid, and I'm glad that they cut me off before I did.
So how are things in Montana? Because I got to tell you today, I know that it doesn't seem like anything big, but when I woke up this morning, it was 70 degrees.
Good
and
Lord.
Yeah, exactly. So I know a lot of people up north are like, oh, total stop being a big pussy or whatever. You know, because they really got to deal with real cold. And you actually lived in Alaska for a little bit of time, right?
Mm-hmm. For about a year.
What was the coldest that you ever experienced up in Alaska?
Actually, to be honest with you, it got colder in Montana than when I was up in Alaska. It got a little bit below zero, but I've been here and it's gotten to at least 15 below.
Hey, I know this wasn't on the topic sheet, but did you see where they're having a problem with otters up in Alaska attacking people now for some reason, and they're trying to figure out why? And a lot of people look at otters as like furry, cute little things, but they will mess up your day with those teeth.
They will absolutely mess up your day. Yeah, they're no joke. Badgers too. I've never
you've run into a badger? Like, what about a wolverine? Like, I mean, it's basically the same thing, right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, they are tiny little wolverine. Well, this one wasn't tiny. This one was huge, and it was on the side of the road. I actually stopped and got out and kind of looked. I didn't go up to it because I'm not gonna get attacked by it. But yeah, it was big, dude. It was like, size of a giant cat.
Have you? I love watching those wildlife specials. And the honey badger, like I've seen, like, even though they could die, but like there was like 4 or 5 lions around this honey badger, and like his attitude, it's just like a I don't give an F type attitude. Like, I don't know if that like backs him down or whatever, but man, I mean, think about this. Honey badgers get struck by cobras, they kill a cobra, and then they just go to sleep, and when they wake up, they eat the cobra that they had just killed.
They also leave Cardinals and go to the Chiefs.
The honey badger.
Yeah.
I remember, what was the announcer that they were making fun of that just kept saying honey badger, honey badger, honey badger? I forget.
Oh yeah, that was some time ago. That was back when he was at LSU, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Who could forget those good old days?
One of the first stories I wanted to get into, and like I really, really did. And I want nothing but the best for this host and radio, because if you listen to Howard when he came back, he was talking about, and I actually worked with Mark Bernier, that guy that died, that was anti-vaxxer, that had COVID.
Yeah. Did you say he hates your guts too? Well, he did.
Yeah. Well, anyways, unfortunately, I sent you that link. Did you look at some of the pictures of one Russ Rollins? And I feel really, really bad because Russ has been vaccinated. He's gotten both shots, and he is now hospitalized and on oxygen, I think. I have the story here, but I don't know. It just, like I said, I know that me and Russ had problems back in the day, but we finally made up. I admitted all my wrongdoings and stuff. And now looking back on it, it was really, really silly because Russ did give me a chance. He gave me a life raft to be able to jump on after Ron and Fez went to New York.
Yeah, exactly. And then you turned around and you backstabbed him. But
Yeah, I did.
that's the story for a different day. No, I just wish him well. And it happens at the worst time too. I mean, it's not like it was during when he was working or whatever. It happened on his vacation.
Yeah, it was an RV. See, he's a big RVer now. Like he loves doing the camping thing. And I've been trying to get him to come out because he reviews campsites, and I wanted him to come out to the Hobo Fish Camp just to and I'm gonna like I would love to hear it because I really do think like he'd be like, man, this place is a piece of crap.
That'd be hilarious. Now that I would definitely want to listen to.
But so I'm gonna read the story. Hot talker Russ Ray Rollins, or as he is sometimes called Triple R from the Monsters in the Morning on 104.1. Now, do you find it kind of weird that iHeart is kind of the one that is doing this story?
They're pushing that their host got sick.
Yeah, like I
Well, do you think that they would have done that if he wasn't the number one man?
No. And I
Like
don't
if he was like third Jones Willie there on the Nielsen, do you think they would even care?
No, but I mean, say what you want about Russ. I mean, he's
No,
been
I'm not
around.
saying anything about him. I'm just saying in general, like, I mean, it shows that he has some he's a star, obviously, because people are concerned and they're writing articles about him getting COVID.
I mean, think about the revolving door of people that have been on his show. Like, I swear to God, it might be like 25 to 30 people. And the only guy that has been in every incarnation of the Monsters in the Morning or Monsters in midday is Russ Rollins, because everybody else is gone.
So he is the Monsters, basically.
Exactly. So Rollins was on the road trip with his wife in their RV for an 11-day vacation when it was cut short 6 days after Russ started having breathing problems and severe fatigue that he talks about in this video. You know, they put the video up there. He was unable to drive the RV and had to get a hotel for the night, but eventually gained the strength to finish the drive. Upon returning home, he stayed in bed and was taken care of by his wife. Unfortunately, things went from bad to worse on Monday, September 27th, when he was told by his doctor to go to the local emergency room. According to Russ, who communicated via text, said fluid was filling up, and this is not good.
Yeah, that doesn't, well, any sort of fluid filling up is not good, especially if it's on the lungs.
And
I read that statement and I was like, what?
But Russ has never, ever been a smoker. Like he despises, smokers, not look down on them, but like, a lot of people on the show back in the day, I would have to say I would have to run the board because they would have to go down 4 flights of stairs to go burn a heater downstairs. And, like sometimes people were late.
Oh, yeah, of course. I know this lady who, honestly, as long as management wasn't around, she would crack the window and like hang out of it and smoke cigarettes, just chain smoking them as she's doing her on-air shift.
Now, back in the day, a lot of people don't know this, is that radio guys could smoke in the studio. Like they would be like lighting up while on the microphone. And, that's not great for microphones.
No, it's not great for anything. Your sticky tar fingers all over the board and everything else. Everything was digital back then, so it was all those weird dials.
Yeah, and the thing is that Russ is a big vaccine supporter. Have you been vaccinated or no?
Yeah, I got it because I thought I was leaving.
Yeah, what did you get? The Moderna, Pfizer, or Johnson and Johnson?
Whatever one that you only have to get once.
You got the poor people one. You got the J&J.
I did. I got the we don't want you coming back here. It's probably going to make me sterile, but oh well. You're welcome, America.
Actually, that's kind of a good thing. You could be like,
it was free. It was cheaper than getting snipped.
Iggy T from Canada. I don't know exactly where Iggy T is from, but man, oh man, is she hot, Charlie. And you're near the Canadian. I mean, you guys, Montana butts up to the Canadian border, right?
Yeah, I'm about 100 miles away from it.
Now, let me ask you, going to Canada, like, have you ever just driven into Canada, Or is there pretty just strict like borders like we have Mexico?
Both. There's places where you can still just kind of drive in, and especially like in Sweetgrass and stuff like that. But there's also places where you're definitely going to get hit with the border. I remember going to Canada when all you had to do was have an ID. You didn't even
They
have to
just
have a passport. You know, when I turned 18, we went up to Canada because, of course, you can drink.
the
And
weed.
no, well, there was that too. But no, I went up there to go drinking, and then, of course, discovered, all the other stuff that it had
Were
to
you drinking
offer.
a Molson?
Yeah, I probably did have a few Molsons. I mean, I was 18, of course. I was drinking all kinds of crap beer.
Speaking of Canada, do you I know everybody talks good about it, and we've talked about this before, but that Letter Kenny show, I really do not like. I just do not get the humor.
No, they kind of ran a joke into the ground. And it was funny the
What, kind of
first
like Seth MacFarlane, like run
kind
a
of.
joke into the ground?
No, he just runs them into the ground. But I mean, the guy's worth at least $1 million, if not more.
Yeah. Russ Rollins has been a staunch supporter of vaccination and has gone on air in Orlando many times asking for his audience to get vaccinated. Russ himself has been vaccinated for some time, but has been working remotely due to concerns with the pandemic. He has said, "This is the worst I've ever felt," and is happy with his decision to get vaccinated as it alleviates a lot of the concerns because he knew breakthrough cases can happen. But the more serious risks happen at a much lower percentage of vaccinated individuals. Now, did you look at some of the pictures of Russ? And I'm not saying anything bad about Russ, but in the story that I sent you, did you
No,
look at some of the
I just read
pictures?
the story.
Man, I look, his eyes, he just does not look very
Well,
well.
when do you look good when you're in a hospital bed?
I know, but like, and you know what though, Russ, say what you want, man. The guy, like, he was like Lummox. Lummox, like you see him get pissed off on the Bubba the Love Sponge show, but I have actually seen the real shoot style Lummy mad, and it's pretty goddamn scary. Like, if I'm just being honest, like he took a toaster and crushed it with his one hand and threw it, and he went on a rage, and I was like, do people realize at the BRN, like if they kept pushing Lummy, that he could kill everybody with his bare hands? Like it would be like a handicap match, but it would be like Anna, Dan Diaco, Bubba, and the only thing that would stop him is Blitz. Is Blitz has got his gun.
Yeah, but if if he doesn't have a high caliber that day, he may not take him down. Could be like a bear.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he might still be able to get you before he dies. Like
Well,
if you shoot him.
I mean, maybe back in the day, a chip took him down recently. So
Yeah. But yeah, no, I look, I'm not a religious person, and I'm not gonna say, I'm praying for Russ, but I wish him nothing but the best, because it would really, really suck to finally make up and be in good graces, and Russ, just kicks it.
that would absolutely suck. I wish him nothing but the best. And if that were to happen, God forbid,
Who's the host gonna be?
do they
I just
continue as the monsters? Is it like a Kid Craddock situation?
be nice. Okay, be
No,
nice.
I'm
please.
being nice. I'm asking,
Okay.
do they keep the name, and do they just continue on and have the people that are there host the show like
No.
Kid Craddock did?
If you want me to be honest, the news junkie moves from middays to mornings.
You heard it here first.
No, I'm
Tuddle's
just
breaking
being
news.
honest. No, I don't have any inside information. I'm just saying, like, if it does happen, the news junkie moves to mornings. Sean Wasson, Sabrina, and C-Lane.
Okay. Well, Tuddle's breaking news.
I mean, it's not any inside info. That is just my opinion.
Okay.
One of the first stories we're going to get into, R. Kelly last night or yesterday, they made a big deal about this. I mean, we all knew. Now, let me ask you. So before we get into playing this audio,
Okay.
we know that R. Kelly is going to jail.
He is in jail. He's
All
been
right,
in there
so
for 2 years.
Is R. Kelly going to be holding pockets? Is R. Kelly being a bitch? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like a lot of the big, really tough criminals are be like, hell yeah, man, I just had sex with R. Kelly.
Well, I mean, the guy who wrote Trapped in the Closet, you think that he's really going to be having a problem with any of that? He's so screwed, man. He's not that I, go to jail. I mean, he had all these women were at least kept in a nice mansion instead of in like, a basement or something, but still that's not good. And they're going
Now,
back years too, years and years, so he's done.
all right, let's play the audio so we can get the details.
A jury in the federal trial of R.
Oh,
Kelly has found-
Lester. What do you if it was not for Brian Williams getting caught lying and stuff, like this is the best. I like Lester Holt out of all the national, like, that primetime spot. What time is it? 6:30 that they do in the national news, or is it 6?
I think it's 6, but yes, I know what you're talking about. No, he's great. Brian Williams stunk on ice anyway. I'm glad that they finally caught him in lies because he was pompous. Lester's got a smooth delivery, and you want to listen to the news from him.
Do you remember when one of the greatest things though, because Brian Williams was so stiff, like not stiff like in wrestling terms, but just like stiff. He really didn't have a lot of personality. And then before him, what do you think about Brokaw? I liked him because he had that speech impediment type thing. That
Old mumble
Tom
mouth?
Brokaw. Yeah, Tom Brokaw.
Oh, so Tom Brokaw here with the
Well, it's not Imus. It's not Imus.
Oh, 6 baby. That'll be see.
But do you remember when Brian Williams would be hosting and Jimmy Fallon and them would like? I like the bit because I love editing. What it took where they would find like clips of him saying things and then they would put it to music like Rapper's Delight and they would take we'll have to find some of that audio that we can play.
I don't watch Jimmy Fallon Tonight Show, only Jack Parr.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to this.
Found the singer guilty of racketeering based on sexual exploitation of children, kidnapping, and forced labor. They also found him guilty of violating all 8 counts of the Mann Act, a sex.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to mark out the Lester Holt, but like listen to his delivery. Like it's so calm. It's at a cadence that like it's just like you can't stop listening.
No, absolutely. Compared to this crow that they got coming up next right after him, oh my God, it's night and day.
Statute. That verdict comes after weeks of testimony from some 50 witnesses. He faces potentially decades in prison. Let's go right to NBC's Stephanie.
Wait, hold on. Do you think you're screwed when they got 50 witnesses? I mean, in most cases, you got maybe like 5. Like, say if this was a mob boss, do you realize how many people would have to get hit? Like, if you had 50 witnesses against you, like how many people you'd have to kill?
It's funny that you bring up the mob thing because that's how they got him on racketeering. And this lady talks about how usually that's what they use it for. And so they really wanted to get him. So that's how they got him up on charges.
Outside the courthouse in Brooklyn. Stephanie, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lester. This is a man who was once dubbed the king of R&B. He wrote that song, I Believe I Can Fly. He won.
Oh, she is so over the top.
Oh,
she is so over the top. And what did she do? Like a speedball or something, or like amphetamines and cocaine before?
She looks like she did downers if you watch the video, and she gets thrown off really easily. She's looking down a lot. One of those people that the audio, just listening to the audio helps her out because it was a terrible scene when she's standing outside of the courtroom just befuddled.
Emmys from it. It was an anthem of sorts in the mid-90s, now going to prison potentially for decades. 1 charge of racketeering, as you said, other 8 charges of sex trafficking. And you might hear racketeering and think, isn't that for mafia bosses? But this was part of a unique strategy on the part of federal prosecutors to introduce sexual assault allegations that were well outside.
Is somebody yelling in the background, like on a bullhorn or something?
Oh yeah, and then later on a motorcycle goes by and she's just like confused and looking around. I'm telling you, it's fantastic. And Lester, they go back to Lester and he's just smooth and composed in the studio and she's just all over the place. I think she took the wrong medication, honestly.
I feel bad for like reporters in like Florida because you always get that big guy that's got a Cummins diesel, and he just like sees a news reporter and he just like revs it up, but blows that black diesel like smoke out of it, and you can just hear it. It's loud as hell.
Or man on Harley downtown just blaring off of buildings and stuff like that. Yeah, they know what they're doing.
Of limitations. And at the center of this case, Lester, was the story of Aaliyah, a pop singer who many people know died tragically in a plane crash in 2001.
By the way, I forgot to tell you, Iggy T, she is in Calgary, which I think is, is pretty close to Montana, right? Like in that area.
Yeah, it's not too far, a couple hours away. That's not far.
Because I mean, that's a West Coast. I didn't get a chance when they did a Bubba Palooza at the Stampede in Calgary, Canada.
Is that where they also did the bunkhouse brawl?
Yeah, dude. Well, they all well, damn it. You know what? I probably shouldn't tell this story.
Uh-oh.
I think Bubba's told it before, but they had taped money to the inside of their shirts to be able to get it across, so they didn't have to claim the money that they had made from it.
Oh, okay. That happens. I mean, now I bet he wishes he was taping money to underneath his shirt.
Met R. Kelly when she was just 12 years old. A compelling witness for the prosecution, said that she actually walked in on R. Kelly performing a sex act with Aaliyah when she was either 13 or 14 years old. We then heard from one of his employees that at the age of 15, he bribed an official in Illinois to get a fake ID so that Aaliyah could marry R. Kelly at the time, who was 27.
That's where the racketeering comes in, I think, right? Like,
yeah, that's a ballin' ass move to just be able to bribe somebody like that for any sort of thing, any sort of official, to be able to be like, yeah, I'm R. Kelly, I got hit songs, here's some money, take it and shut up.
And like Aaliyah, like she's not even alive, right? She's dead, I think.
Yeah, she died in a plane crash. I think she had this. She did a Jim Croce.
Yeah, her one movie, that Queen of the Damned, was so horrible.
Yeah, it was. Remember when Jonathan Davis from Korn did the music on it? Oh God, that movie was just shite. It was not good.
But I mean, it was from the same author that did Interview with a Vampire, right? I think it was.
Yeah, I don't know. It was not a good movie to die on, though.
Because he suspected Aaliyah may be pregnant, and if they married, she could not actually give any testimony against him in a statutory rape charges. But it concludes dozens of witnesses coming forward with depraved allegations.
Man, she's rambling so bad. Like, she's just rambling.
She's all over the place. You wonder if she maybe had a few cocktails before it, maybe a few beverages. Her gimmicks aren't working right. Something's working against this lady.
Abuse, physical, emotional, sexual, a number of alleged victims. And as you said, this was a trial that lasted weeks, but prosecutors argued that this was actually something that was decades in the making. His defense over the course of the trial tried to portray the victims in this case.
It wasn't me.
Opportunists.
Yeah.
Like Shaggy. Wasn't me.
Yeah, whatever happened to that guy?
Caught me. He's actually doing commercials with Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, like with like Doritos. You know how you get the Dorito dust on your fingers, and Shaggy's there. It wasn't me. Caught me in the shower.
So
Caught
it's two washed up actors and a singer doing Dorito commercials.
Yeah.
Who were looking for money and fame, but very clearly here in the end, the jury decided the prosecution had made its case, Lester.
And Stephanie, he has been in custody leading up to this, correct?
Yes, he has, for 2 years. And this is not the end of the...
I love how Lester
was a delay.
Yeah, and I love how Lester wasn't even paying attention. She mentioned several times that he was in custody, and she's like, so he is in fact in custody, right? He didn't care. He's letting this lady ramble.
Yeah, when those news stories are going on, I bet Lester's like getting like a cappuccino or a frappuccino. He's probably like, when you're the lead anchor on the national news, like, I mean, you are like the big swinging D, right?
Yeah, and wouldn't he be on like a talkback or something, because they're feeding him new information the entire time. He's not really paying attention to whatever this old crow's saying.
They're probably bringing lesser whores like in. Do you want this one for after your broadcast, Lesser?
That's the Rupert Murdoch, right?
Yep.
Oh no.
The road in terms of the charges that he faces. He still has state and federal charges, sex trafficking, sexual assault, as well as pornography charges. He was acquitted on pornography charges back in 2008, but at this point, he still has weeks, years, months down the road where he's going to be dealing with these allegations in a courtroom. But he is, for now, facing decades in prison. His sentencing due to take place May 5th here in New York.
Yeah.
Her whole report sounded like she was on a tightrope, and like every 5 seconds, she was losing her balance and about to fall off the rope.
It makes you wonder, that's the best you could get? You couldn't call anybody else? She was the only one available.
Well, you want to know what ends up happening is that sometimes they cannot get a reporter from their national level out to cover a story fast enough. So they'll take a jobber, like a dark match curtain jerker from like the local news media there, and they'll be like, hey, can you cover the story?
That's what you need to do. Tuddle on the scene. There's an overturned truck.
Yeah.
Great at amateur reporter.
So speaking of crime, the crime rates have gone up. And the reason why I thought this next story was a little like, you know what, like, no kidding, no F, people. In 2020, we were all trapped inside. We couldn't go anywhere. And now they're making a big deal that crime rates are up right now.
The weekend brought Philadelphia a grim new record, passing 400 murders so far this year, 60 more than in all of last year.
Charlie,
yeah.
What is the most dangerous place you've ever lived? Like,
probably when I lived with my dad in Chicago, I would say.
Yeah, Chicago, man. They're just a different type.
I'm not gonna lie. Connecticut wasn't that great either. There was shootings there every day, especially outside of Hartford. Hartford's just a ghetto to begin with. And so, yeah, that place wasn't exactly on the up and up, especially when you got to go to the hood to get your gimmicks.
I mean, you got to remember, like, speaking of going to the hood to get gimmicks, they give us free HBO this weekend, and they were doing like a Sopranos marathon.
Oh, yeah.
Because, they're trying to get people to sign up to HBO because of that Saints of New York that's coming out.
Yeah, on Friday.
Yeah. So I remember Christopher was going to score some H in the ghetto, and they jack him. They take his car, his phone, and everything. It was just, man, I forgot how great that show was. There were like so many scenes. And you know what? There was a lot of comedy in that show that, Paulie Walnuts or Paulie, like when they were going to get that Russian, and he was like, yeah, he's some type of interior and decorator or something. It just, there were so many like funny things.
Oh, yeah. The whole the fact that he, throughout the series, he's either fighting with Christopher or he's fighting with Ralph Cifaretto throughout the whole show, basically, until Christopher ends up dying. Spoiler alert.
And there were so many great drops that Jim Phillips would pull from that when Ralph was like, she was a whore, Joe Pantaleona came into the studio one time, and it was a great interview. Like he talked about, he's like, look, I'm not the biggest actor in the world. I make a pretty good living. And he talked about, as an actor, the way he does it is that he picks one movie for the art, one movie for the location, and one movie for the money.
Well, he's great. I just watched him in Midnight Run the other day. He has weird hair. That's before he decided to go for the bald look, which he totally pulls off. And
wasn't he the pimp in Trading Places too, I think?
Yes, he was. He was.
And he was also in the first Matrix too.
Yeah, he was great in the first Matrix. He was the first one to make the deal. He's like, I know I can't taste this steak, but he's eating it anyway, and it's all bloody.
Man, how do you eat your steak? Rare, medium?
I'll eat it whatever. I'm not picky at all. I've had it bloody as hell. As long as it's not burnt to a little hockey puck or anything like that. I don't want anything that's well overly done, but yeah, whatever.
All right, let's get back into this.
Now is causing Philadelphians to be frightened, to be scared, often scared for their own family members, scared for themselves.
It's an alarming trend in American
They
cities.
need Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa needs to go out there, like fighting Billy Gunn, or not Billy Gunn. That's a wrestler. Who was the one guy?
No, he was Billy the Machine Gun.
I think he was, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't Billy
Tommy
Gunn a
Gunn? It was Tommy Gunn.
Tommy Gunn. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Billy Gunn was like a wrestler, right?
Yeah, he was Mr. Ass.
Yeah, a bit badass Billy Gunn.
Yeah. He was the ass man. Literally. I mean, he had a whole theme song.
Did you like Ravish and Rick Rude?
Yeah, until he died. I you know what it always sucked about him was that he had this great wrestling career, but then he got injured and he couldn't wrestle anymore, so he just became a manager. So
what about Val Venus? Like, they went over the top with innuendos with Val Venus. Remember, like his opening thing would be like a bulb being screwed down on a nut or whatever. And yeah, it was just so over the top.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Sizes. Murder soaring too in Portland, Oregon, and Jackson, Mississippi.
How is that possible? I know I'm starting and stopping. I know people hate that, but Portland, Oregon, like why are
Portland's a GD and S hole. There's people just shooting up in the streets. There's always crimes there. It stinks. I hate Portland.
I thought they were all pot smoking liberals in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, they'll smoke pot and then they'll brandish a weapon and steal your car. They don't care. Yeah, it's just insane. Portland is a real crap hole.
Revealed today that murder jumped 29% in 2020 compared to the year before, the biggest increase since it began tracking the data 6 decades ago. Overall violent crime was up almost 6%, but it isn't just street crime that drove the numbers. The FBI says a big share of the murder victims were killed at home. Experts who study
domestic, when you're look, I always told people for a relationship to work, you got to have some time away. And when you're working at home with your old lady and the kids, like all day, like every day, 24/7, like you're going to wear thin on each other.
Not only that, like I was doing a lot of stuff just working from home before the pandemic and kind of during it. Then I wanted to go out and get another job because I just wanted to get out of the goddamn house, man. You start to go crazy being here every day and just, there's different stuff. There's always stuff to do, but when you don't leave for a few days, things just kind of run into each other. Of course. I
actually kind of liked it. I didn't mind not leaving the house. Like I really, really didn't. Well,
it's not like it changed that much. I mean, I don't leave all the time anyway. It's not like I go out drinking at bars or anything like that. I usually just hang out at home,
because it's overpriced alcohol when you could just get your own.
And plus everything's so spread out here. So you have to drive. And what are you going to do? Have a few drinks and then drive home? I'm not getting popped for that. I'd rather just meander around the street here and not have to worry about anything.
2 factors have formed a deadly combination. More people forced to stay home because of COVID lockdowns, and a huge increase in gun sales, especially to first-time buyers.
These guns that were purchased in 2020 were ostensibly purchased for the sake of protecting the family against intruders. Unfortunately, that may be the reason for the purchase, but ultimately, too often they're used against the family member.
Roughly 3/4 of murders in 2020 were committed with a gun. That's a historic high.
Honey, I'm tired of your meatloaf. You've done meatloaf 3 times this week. Don't make me get out the AR-15 to teach you a lesson.
Yeah, that I bought at the local gun show.
Now this guy is not mowed all for like 2 weeks. And now when I'm doing a live stream, he's wanting to mow out here.
God bless him. Finally, he wants to do some yard work. You're inspiring everybody there, Tuddle.
Dude, he gave me some, I don't want to get in trouble, but maybe I partaked in something called Keef the other day, and yeah, let's just say it was pretty intense.
Ooh, I like that.
2, some police chiefs say other factors include fewer officers on the street, and more offenders released on bail. One bright spot, property crimes were down for the 18th year in a row. One reason, with more people at home, fewer houses are burglarized.
Yes. So there you go.
Can you hear the guy?
A little bit.
Yeah, this mic, this mic is pretty good because he's like right next up against me.
Good. Tell him it looks shaggy back there. I can see it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like this place is falling apart. Like it's kind of sad.
Well, I thought you're leading the charge back to rehabilitating the hobo fish camp and
I'm trying to get a tenants union. I'm trying to get a tenants union.
You're like Jesse the Body Ventura trying to get a union started back in the day. Hulk Hogan's gonna rat you out.
All right, and finally, this is a story you pulled. Can you set this story up for me and explain it?
Okay, so there's a lot of obviously wildfires there in California, and they actually are going to charge this lady with starting one because she had a lighter in her pocket.
Aren't they trying? All right. There was this like almost 1,000-year-old like bald cypress palm here, and some woman, because the tree was kind of hollow in the middle, it was still alive. You know, some of those trees look dead, and she was smoking methamphetamines inside the tree and burned it down. And once that fire got started, because the tree was kind of hollow through the middle, it just became one big chimney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard to put out.
And what is that big sequoia that they like wrapped in aluminum foil out in the redwood forest? It's like old General or old like
old Spanky.
Well, no, it's the tallest tree in the world.
Oh, I don't know. But that they wrapped it in tinfoil?
Yeah, because they thought like,
it's gonna
like
burn down.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's a lot of tinfoil. Where'd they get that from? Reynolds?
I don't know.
Have you ever?
Have you ever gone to the dollar store and gotten tinfoil? You can definitely tell a difference in the thickness. Like if you get real cheap tinfoil, like you can barely pull the tinfoil out. And the thing I hate the most is when you mess up the tinfoil and it gets off. Like there's like that one little piece and it takes forever. I throw it away.
Yeah, and dollar store tinfoil, like normal tinfoil's got kind of a duller and then the shinier side. Dollar store tinfoil, it's dull on both sides. There's no shiny side.
Yeah, you can't smoke methamphetamines off of the tinfoil or your crack cocaine.
No, you got to go a couple aisles over and get the Brillo. Then you do your own. Then you do your own gimmick.
Now, this comes as the Shasta County District Attorney detailed the charges against a Palo Alto woman accused of starting that fire. And as KTVU crime reporter Henry Lee tells us, we're now learning about the evidence.
One thing I want to, what do you think about, the gender reveal parties really pissed me off. Did you see the one that started that fire?
Yeah,
they deserve to be.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And you know what? That child is going to be screwed because his parents just had to make it all about themselves. You're in a burn zone and you're going to have things that explode. You're an absolute idiot. You deserve everything that you're getting. And I hope they throw the book at them because that's insane. It's insane. Everybody is so full of themselves. Like I get it. You're having a baby. That's awesome for you. Congratulations. Get ready for no sleep for the next few months. You should be more worried about that than having explosions going off with stupid glitter. Oh, we're having a boy. Who cares? Just have the kid. And before we get back into this clip, this guy is horrendous. He needs to get out of, not the guy that's talking right now, but the guy coming up does not need to be in broadcasting at all.
He was holding this moments before her arrest.
Shasta County DA Stephanie Bridget says a Palo Alto woman spotted near the Fawn fire when it broke out on Wednesday was carrying a telltale piece of evidence.
She was contacted by CAL FIRE coming out of the brush where the fire had started with an operable lighter in her pocket.
Earlier that day, CAL FIRE investigators say workers at a quarry caught 30-year-old Alexandra Suverneva trespassing and acting strangely on their property.
And did you see the photos that they had in the article? In the one picture, she looks batshit crazy, and the other one, she looks like she may be an RA person.
Man, was it one of those torch lighters, or was it one of those ones you light your grill with?
They don't really. I'm almost wondering if it was a torch lighter because they don't make a reference. If it was a Bic or something, wouldn't they say that? when they say a normal style lighter, you would think, but this guy's horrendous. And I don't know if he did. Well, you can tell he did this voiceover somewhere else. His microphone is not good compared to that one that you got there. It's horrendous.
She was asked to leave and later fled and left off into the hills.
Suverneva could be considered an unusual, if not unlikely, suspect. On her LinkedIn page, she described her current title as shaman. She's a self-described yoga and dive teacher who graduated from Palo Alto High School in 2009 and then got bachelor's degrees in chemistry and biology from Caltech. Now, the one-time academic tutor has been charged with arson, along with an enhancement alleging arson during a state of emergency. A motive isn't yet known. Asked by CAL FIRE what she was doing in the area, she said she was hiking to Canada and tried to start a fire to boil water from a puddle that had bear urine in it. But she said,
"Wait a minute."
Yeah, that's where the story gets a little crazy.
Wait a minute, man.
Hang on, I'm feeling a little parched. Let me boil up some bear pee. Get rehydrated.
I do not know. Like, I mean, I've tasted urine before.
Your own?
Yeah, my own, definitely
Okay,
my
good.
own.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's I know that it's like, it won't kill you, but I mean, like, bear urine, and I don't care how much you boil it, I don't think it's going to get rid of the. Jesus Christ, this guy just wants to
he's
know.
hauling. Look at him zipping around. He ain't messing around. What gimmicks is he on?
Well, he microdoses as well too. So.
Well, that doesn't make you a bad person.
He could be tripping right now while he's riding.
Well, he's driving like he is. He's driving like Richard Petty back there. It's insane.
She said it was too wet for the fire to start. 10 days before her arrest in the Fawn fire, Suverneva was arrested for trespassing in Douglas County, Oregon.
Still have a long way to go till the rains come.
CAL FIRE Battalion Chief J.T. Zulliger says as the firefight continues, the full extent of the damage has yet to be determined.
We know that structures have been destroyed and we have damage inspection teams out in the area surveying the damage, and that will be ongoing.
The DA says investigators are trying to determine whether she is responsible for other fires. If convicted in the Fawn fire case, she could face up to 9 years in state prison. Henry Lee, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
So not only that, they want to try to pin some other. Maybe there's a few other fires we're going to pin on you as well. And
man,
it sounds like she's screwed, basically. I mean, she was probably out there tripping a little bit. Next thing you know, she's trying to boil up some delicious bear urine, and she's lighting the whole woods on fire. And then she was just arrested a few days before that in Oregon.
Bear urine, I just would imagine is very pungent, would be strong. I just don't know. Before we take off, I want to tell everybody thank you for tuning in to today's show. But if you're in the market to buy or sell a home, or you know somebody that's wanting to buy or sell a home in the Volusia, Flagler, Brevard area, check out my good friend Ian Hanna. Go to his website, ianhannahomes.com, and he specializes in drone footage. He's got some really, really good drones. Taking it, by the way, what did you think of my Milky Way picture that I took during astrophotography?
I thought it was great, man. You're getting a lot better at that. And yeah,
I know it's nerdy as hell. The Trini, Trinidad, not Tranny, but Trini from Trinidad and Tobago went with me to, take the pictures.
Let's see, I knew you were a Trini lover.
Yeah, I know. But if you get a chance, go to ianhannahomes.com if you're looking to buy or sell a home. And if you do, tell them Tuddle sent you. Yes, I did the whole radio douchey gimmick. Tell them Tuddle sent you.
What if they don't? What if they tell them that Charlie sent you?
And then I guess you get part of the commission. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, Charlie. Well, I appreciate everything. I thought it was a lot smoother second show today. Yeah, and it's only going to get better.
Oh, yeah, it is. And, more news stories and all kinds of stuff. So we'll just keep it coming.
All right, man. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. All right.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
All right.